This episode of the Goldmine Podcast is brought to you by Creating the Best Version of Me, a journal designed for ambitious Christian women who are seeking to increase their self-awareness, find purpose, and embark on the next level of their personal evolution journey. As entrepreneurs, career women, mothers, leaders, world changers, it is so important that we invest in our mindset and well-being, and journaling is one of the simple but powerful ways of doing that. This isn't your typical blank page journal. Besides the carefully curated morning and evening prompts, you'll also find a primary aim questionnaire that is designed to help you clarify your purpose, and a whole section of affirmations to help you retrain your thinking and speaking into positive patterns. This journal is easy to use, has plenty of room for writing and reflecting, and guaranteed to help you become the best version of yourself. You do not want to go through 2019 without this journal. Buy your copy on Amazon today. The link is in the show notes. You're listening to episode 52 of
The Goldmine Podcast.
As women, we have to invest that time in getting to understand who we are.
Be ambitious, be bold, create the life of your dreams. This is the Goldmine Podcast with your host, Adrienne Dion.
Hey you guys, thanks so much for joining me for another episode of the Goldmine Podcast. I hope you are having a beautiful day. I'm so grateful to be back with you guys. I just want to say thank you to each and every person that just decided right now to say, hey, I'm going to listen to this podcast. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoy this podcast, I ask that you do me one favor. Just screenshot that you're listening, post it to your stories, post it to your Instagram, and let other people know that you are listening. That's how we spread the word of this podcast. I don't do any formal marketing for the podcast, and so you guys are all I have. So anytime that you're listening, make sure you screenshot it and post it to let other people know about it. Want to spread this message to as many people as we can. The past few episodes, we've been doing some self-assessment with the self-identity. And so I hope that you've looked at the story you've been telling yourself and you've decided to do something different if you aren't happy with the results that you are currently experiencing. But there's always room to improve, always another level to rise to. We're here to evolve into our best selves, and continuing to challenge ourselves and to push past the limits and expand our comfort zones is the only way to do that. So I hope that assessing your story has inspired you to take action. And listen, you can listen to these podcasts, or any podcast for that matter, and be motivated for a moment. But if you don't do the work that's required, being motivated will change nothing for you. If you don't allow yourself 15 minutes to take out a sheet of paper and sit down and ask yourself the questions I gave you in the last episode to figure out the story you've been telling yourself, which it'll show you the self-imposed limitations that have not allowed you to reach your full potential, then that's saying a lot about how much you really value your dreams. That quote I gave in episode 51 about the graveyard being the richest place on earth is so real. So don't allow that to be you one day. Actually take out time to do the assessment. Doing it in your head is not enough. Take out some time if you really matter to you. I did a little research to see the top 5 excuses people give for not pursuing their dreams. And the number one excuse people give is that they don't have enough time. Now, that's a really easy one to come up with because most of us do lead busy lives. The way our economy is set up today, most households just can't survive off of one income. And so that means if you are single, like a lot of my listeners who are like in their 20s and 30s, single being not married, most likely you have 2 jobs or you're working long hours to make ends meet. And if you living in California is just so expensive. So you have to do a lot of things to make ends meet. And even outside of a full-time job, there are family obligations. You have friends or other relationships you need to invest in to keep healthy. You have hobbies that you want to keep up with. And of course, you need to sleep. So most people say they only have about 2 to 3 hours of free time during a week. So considering all of that, not having enough time to pursue something that's not 100% guaranteed seems like a legitimate excuse, right? Well, not quite. And you guys already know I can't let you off the hook that easy. And it wouldn't be the Gold Mine podcast if I didn't challenge that concept. Everyone in the world has different circumstances, but there are two facts about time that I want you to always remember. And that is, number one, regardless of where you live, how many resources you have access to, or whatever talents you possess, you only have 24 hours in a day, just like everybody else. Beyonce doesn't get more time. Oprah doesn't get more time. None of our past great leaders got more time. We all have the same amount of time to work with. The second thing to always remember is that time is relative, which means the way we experience time is dependent on how we think about it. It is not something that we experience directly as fact. And the reason we know this to be true is because sometimes time seems to go fast and sometimes time seems to go slow. So, for example, whenever I have to do something at the DMV, I could only be there for 2 hours, but it seems like 9 days. And it's probably because everybody is all the employees are always so rude. Like, where do they get these people? And another example is the fact that I believe that wigs are the best thing since sliced bread, because it has given me the ability to escape being in the shop. I used to hate going to the beauty salon because those hours spent there just seem to last forever, especially when you're under the dryer. But on the other hand, it seems like when you're having fun, time flies. 90 minutes at the spa seems like 30 minutes. And I'm always like, is there somebody speeding the clock up behind my back? Like, that hour went by way too freaking fast. Anyway, because of those two facts, whenever I hear somebody say, I don't have time, I know that lack of time is not the real problem. The real issue is that the individual is not in control of their time. Now, if you've ever said this about something you wanted to do, don't feel bad. You are not alone. There are so many people who don't realize not only that this is their issue, but there is a solution to that issue. You can learn to be in control of your time. And so much so that it'll appear that you've created more time in your life, which allows you to do all the things that you've ever wanted to do. I've been telling you guys about my course, Reclaiming My Time, that I'm now offering as an online program. And I created it as a solution for those people who feel like they just don't have enough time. A lot of you guys are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. Some of you may be in your dream career, but you still have some other things that you'd like to pursue to kind of level up or just create another source of income, which I think is both smart and necessary in today's economy. Either way, I remember when I first began trying to, start my business while working a full-time job, it was so hard. And when you're working in a hospital, you can't just work on your business stuff at work all the time. You're there to save lives. So here I am working 12-hour night shifts and trying to write, trying to work on marketing stuff, trying to create content. And I just felt like it was impossible to start my business. I remember being so frustrated because I was like, the only way I can do what I need to do is by having more time. But I can't quit my job because then I won't have the resources to fund my startup business. So how am I ever going to be able to do this? And I just felt super stuck. It's easy to believe that if you have more time, you make more things happen. But in reality, it just doesn't work like that. There's something called Parkinson's law that states work expands to fill the time available for its completion. And what that means is that even if you have more time, you tend to fill it with the same amount of work. And I saw this happen in my life when I started working full-time on my business. I had way more time on my hands, but I didn't get more done. I'm just like, what is happening? So to all my full-time, self-employed people out there who feel like, your work day just never ends, or you can never catch up on your to-do list. You hardly ever have time to relax or do other stuff that you enjoy. You always just feel super overwhelmed. I can completely relate because, I was there. I knew I had to take a different approach if I really wanted to achieve my goals. And I knew that having more time wasn't the issue anymore. So I just put all my effort into learning everything I could about time management, discipline, and productivity. And the results have been so good. After implementing the strategies that I'm going to teach in this online course, I was not only able to replace my income while working a full-time job, but I tripled my past year's business revenue in just 1 quarter alone. You know, we all want to be able to have the freedom of our time and take the cap off of what's possible for our lives. And the only way to do that is to manage our time efficiently and to pursue our goals with focus and purpose. And that's exactly what I'm going to be teaching you guys to do over a period of 4 weeks. We're going to dive deep into things, and I'm going to teach you guys some strategies that are really going to change the game up for you. I'm going to leave a link in the show notes for you guys to get more information about it. And I hope you sign up or share it with someone who you know needs this course. You'll see the week by week course outline there and just basically everything that's included in the course. The course begins on June 2nd, so make sure you sign up before enrollment closes. Today, though, I'm going to give you guys a few tips on some things you can do right now to free up some of your time and get started on pursuing those dreams. The first thing for creating more time is to examine how you spend your 24 hours. As a coach, this is one of the most common excuses I hear from clients for not doing something is that they didn't have time. Yet, whenever we sit down and examine how they're spending their 24 hours a day, it just turns out that what they say isn't true. And it's not really because they're lying. It's just the fact that they don't realize how much time they are wasting in a day. For those of you who have Instagram, if you have like a business account, they have this thing on there where it shows you how much time you spend on Instagram. And I think the iPhone or maybe another app that also shows you like how much time you spend on your phone. And I remember when I first saw it, it was crazy. Like I think total for like a day or something, it was like 6 hours. I was just like, what? How? You don't realize how little things like that are really wasting your time. Or if you're choosing to cook a fresh meal every day instead of meal prepping, that could really be a time saver for you if you take some time out, cook a lot of different meals or a lot of different things. And it takes 2 hours, that'll save you so much time during the week. So I want you guys for the next 3 days to keep a log of everything you do. You can choose to do the hour by hour thing, or you can just log the activity and the amount of time it took. So when you go back and look at things, you'll be able to figure out what is wasting your time and replace it with the things that will get you closer to your goal. And if you're like me, I use it to kind of challenge myself. Like, can I get better at a certain task? If I know that it normally takes me 2 hours to record a podcast and edit it, I'm like, okay, I could get more time if I could just do this in an hour. So I'm like always challenging myself. But you can't do that unless you know how you're spending your 24 hours. So it goes both ways, not just in a negative way, but also in a positive way. You can find areas to create more time. The second tip for creating more time is learning to say no. Now, I know you might be saying, how does this even relate? But it really does. A lot of you guys have a hard time saying no, which causes you to take on tasks that use valuable time you could be using for something else. You don't have to attend every function your friend or family has to show your support for them. If you know you only have one free day next week to work on your own project and your best friend invites you to her lunch party, you don't have to feel guilty for working on your own project. Let her know you won't be able to make it and see how you can show support in other ways. See if you can help out in prepping for the event or funding the last minute items. I would definitely be happy about that. You could even show support by sending flowers or hiring an assistant for the day. There are so many other ways to help than sacrificing your time. When you start to remember that time is your most valuable asset and start treating it like that, it will help you say no. You don't have to feel guilty. That's one example, but I hope you're able to get my point from that example. Always stay true to your commitments. You should come first, and then from a full cup, from you being able to do for yourself, you're able to help other people. So learn to say no, and that's going to really help you create more time. The third tip for creating more time is by honoring your word. This one is really huge. Most of the time when I talk to people who struggle with their time management skills, they also struggle with keeping their word to themselves. So if you say you're going to wake up at 7 a.m. to hit the gym, you're going to come home and meal prep, work on your project for 2 hours, and then go to work, stay true to your word, or you're going to lose time and opportunities to move closer to your goals. So let me show you what happens when you don't. Instead of waking up at 7, you sleep till 8. Now, instead of having an hour and a half to work out, you only have 30 minutes. But traffic is thick this morning and you fall even further behind, and now you don't even have time to meal prep. You have to pick up food. So now you have to spend money that you didn't budget for, and because you had to make time to make a detour for breakfast, you only have 1 hour to work on your project instead of 2. Everything gets thrown off when you don't honor your word. And the final tip I have for creating more time is planning ahead. Now, I know it sounds super simple, but for most of us, we don't like to manage time. We don't like to plan ahead or make decisions ahead of time. We don't like to think about what we're going to do with deliberateness. We have the sense that being able to react or being able to be spontaneous and not having to make plans is somehow a more free life. But the opposite is true. And actually, the more you plan, the more free you will be, because when you plan and you're able to deliver yourself the results you want, you'll be able to create the exact life you want, and you'll be able to enjoy your free time without guilt. I know that when I have a project to do and I ditch it and I do something else, I'm always feeling bad because I'm like, man, I should have just finished, So when you plan ahead and you follow through, you honor your word, you do what you say you're going to do, you can enjoy your free time without guilt. And because you'll be able to produce so much more in your life, you'll feel so much more in control of your life. So make time to plan. And if you're like me, I plan everything. My whole day is planned, and I include everything. Time to eat, time to take a nap. Naps are important. Time to relax, time to work. I include everything, and that way you can make sure that you get to do everything that you want to do in a day, so you don't leave anything out when you plan ahead. Not having enough time is not a valid excuse. Every single person who has had success made time for what they're passionate about. So it's all about prioritizing and organizing your life for optimal efficiency. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll start to use some or all of these tips to free up some time in your daily life so that you no longer have the excuse of not having enough time to pursue your dreams. And if you did enjoy the podcast, just make sure you screenshot it, tag me, and share it on your social platforms. I really, really appreciate it. Remember to check out my online course, Reclaiming My Time. I'm looking for individuals who are ready to take control of their schedule, gain freedom of their time, and finally accomplish the goals they've always wanted to achieve. If you know somebody that might be interested, share it with them so, we can all level up in life. All right, you guys, I hope you have an amazing rest of the day and week, and I will talk to you guys next Tuesday.